of memories, basically, of Alex Foster running some incredible lines, playing in the centres. His try that he scored in the first half, which to me was kind of the point where I thought Cass are really well up for this and Leeds are really
Yeah,
not. He ran an
yeah. So
absolutely
it was on.
incredibly sharp line from the centre position through the Leeds goal line defence. And earlier in the year, the Leeds goal line defence was fantastic, but it's not in that sort of shape at the moment
No.
for certain. And really, 22-0 at half time probably flattered Leeds a little bit with a couple of penalty goals thrown in there when uh, I mean the 50-metre one from the halfway line on the hooter was a fantastic kick, and obviously that was the only go-to there really. But
Hang on a
I
minute.
just
Was
think
that
they had all the possession. It was up the hill, yeah.
it was uphill, right?
It was up
Gee,
the
so
hill
that's like 55 meters then,
at least, yeah.
at least. Yeah.
At least. But that was yeah, that was a great kick. But also like the Junior Moores try that Rob described so much. Um,
Yeah.
it did just. I don't even think he thought he scored the try. He was getting up to play the ball, but he probably was surprised himself about how much he carried the Leeds defenders.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. The Foster try was, I mean, it was a great line, and you could kind of see the defence on the other side were looking a bit nonplussed about how he'd got through so easy. But yeah, the Moors one is, when you're dragging half the Leeds team on your back, and you can still get the ball down, because usually in those circumstances you'll drag the players, but somebody will grab the ball, and they'll get underneath you, and you've got no chance of getting it down. But yeah, he managed to get it down. So all power to him for that. But yeah, it was a sign that not all was well with the Leeds camp really. And yeah, fair play to Cass. They did what they needed to do, and scored points when they needed to. And with a makeshift team, I think they did a really good job.
They had the game won pretty early on, and then really they scored a few nice tries in the second half. Um, but this was we did leave this game early. We were basically about 5 minutes or so left. I said to Liam, Cass had a scrum about 10 meters out. I said to Liam, if Cass don't score here, I don't think they're going to get 50. So we might as well go. So we missed Brett Ferris's try. I missed Mike McMeekin getting sin binned. I didn't even know that happened until I read the the review in the paper this morning when I was on my way to work. And yeah, I think they were dominant, weren't they? Really, Cass. I think
Well,
that what they came up against probably wasn't quite as good a performance and team as what Wigan came up against, which is why I'd give Wigan the edge for performance of the day. But Castleford weren't far behind.
yeah, I'd say obviously, as you said, we're going to kind of not, maybe not quite picking first choice, but they've got pretty much all their troops on deck. But I would just give it to Cass purely on the basis that they've adapted. From the first day, they adapted to changes they had to make, and makeshift players. But yeah, it's close. They were the two standout performances without question, probably the whole weekend actually. So yeah, you can't begrudge them the win. But yeah,
Alex
I mean,
Foster was one of the standout players, wasn't he? Was there anyone else who you thought was really impressive for you?
you can't look beyond Foster really. Somebody playing out of position. He kind of he made it look great. Um, I thought Watts did all right. They did pretty well up front.
Sonny Lefeo impressed me. I mean, I know they weren't up against a great forward pack in Leeds in this game by any stretch of the imagination, but they still were fantastic in what they were doing. I certainly thought from those guys, like you mentioned, Watts had Frosinone Lefeo in there too, and Jake Truman really did run the show. Ellis had one of his best games back at Cass. His goal kicking would have helped with his confidence along that line, but Jake Truman set up 3 tries in this game and had a really good game, I thought.
Yeah, it's big shoes to fill, isn't it? So yeah, it's a tricky one for him. But yeah, he's doing everything they need him to do.
Yeah, so stats individually: Adam Milner with a try and 100 metres, Alex Foster with a try, 7 tackle plus 140 metres and 3 clean breaks, Jesse Senni-Lefeo with 133 metres, and Liam Watts with a try assist, 118 metres and 4 successful offloads. For Leeds, some people did okay by the looks of the stats. Matt Parcell, who picked up an injury late on, still managed 117 metres, Ryan Hall 100 metres, Brett Delaney 40 tackles, and Adam Cuthbertson 42 tackles. Okay. That's Saturday polished off. We're moving to Sunday now, and we start with Salford 12, Catalan Dragons 26. It was 10-6 at half time to the Catalans, so they kept that half time lead up. Gareth Hewer, shocking, refereed a Catalan game. He's done 7 games in Super League this year. 3 of them have been Catalan games. I'd have put him at least at that. But yeah, we start with I'm guessing a Salford fan.
Maybe, yes. So Chris Young says, shit, that is all. Brief,
Karsten,
but there you go.
Karsten made his first appearance of the weekend, I think. I can't remember. He's
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he says Catalans were the better team, but that was an error festival. Salford got the Louis Karma rightly served. Hopefully the other 2 games are better.
So Sarah says, have Catalan turned a corner? Is McNamara not really destined for a slaughterhouse visit? Who knows? An enjoyable match, although it felt a slow match. I thought all the games were slow, but that's a different point.
And one we can touch on in particularly this game and the next one, I think. But Paul O'Brien, 1976, said, not the best of games, but Catalan are starting to look better. Vital points for the Dragons. So yeah, the slowness of the game. This was the first game that felt like the referee was unnecessarily going to the video review too often. And it also was the first game that felt impacted by injuries that weren't necessarily really injuries. Like they weren't
Yeah.
players getting taken off.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? We've got this rule, these kind of protocols, haven't we, with head knocks and things like that. But throughout the weekend, you certainly know it. You certainly noticed it when I was watching some of these back. The amount of times you were forwarding the kind of the Sky Plus to kind of get to the next piece of action. A lot of these injuries are not serious. These players are not leaving the field. So unless they're directly in the way of to play the ball, or they're in the defensive line or something, I do think that we are probably stopping the game too often for these kind of things.
We definitely are. But I think some of these players are making sure they get in the way of the defensive line before they go down with their injuries potentially.
I think it's players, and I think it's physios. I think the physios and doctors are playing a role in this, in my opinion. They're stopping the game, possibly on instruction, when it's completely unnecessary.
We have to be really careful because player safety, player welfare, injury awareness and all that stuff is very, very important. But it's like you say, we need to get the balance right and make it that we're not just stopping games so people can get breathers. Which
there was a lot of that.
Game.
There was a lot of that with I thought in scrums in this one and the next one. There was kind of the water was going round, and it felt like there was a bit of a we're all a bit tired here. It's really hot. Let's just take a break. And I understand that, but if you
especially
think
for the team running up the hill in that weather.
Yeah, exactly. But if you think there's a player welfare thing from a point of view of a water break, then that's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah.
You schedule a water break. But although it was hot, it wasn't that hot. It wasn't 30 degrees. So, particularly Catalan should be used to that kind of stuff. But yeah, just in my opinion, that these 2 games definitely felt like they were too slow. In terms of stoppages, not necessarily the games themselves, just the number of stoppages.
In terms of the way the game went in this one, Salford started pretty well. They had the Daryl Alfort's try ruled out, which was annoying that it was ruled out because that was a class offload over his head by Chris Swellham, weren't it? But
yes.
But then there was a bloke within the 10 who had nothing to do with nothing, and sadly those are the rules. Weller Haraki then scored though to get them off to a start, and really you felt like Salford, maybe I had decent hopes for them in this game, but one thing that Salford have got to deal with is the fact that they've got a really small squad, and so they've got to pick the players that they've got, and one of those players is Jack Littlejohn, and it's just been poor, just so poor. Catalan had Josh Drinkwater as a halfback, but they play Greg Bird at halfback, and they've been scratching around for halfbacks all season. Even the players that they've put in the 6 shirt with the squad number 6 isn't a half-back in my view, but he wasn't playing in this one anyway. But
Was he
even
was he
their
injured?
half-backs, I assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
But even their half-backs, whoever it might be, make Jack Littlejohn look like, I don't know, a League One player at best. It feels like to me.
Yeah. He just doesn't seem to be up to this level, does he? Not at
No.
all.
And I was flip-flopping around when Robert Louis was named in the side, thinking, because that was a surprise to me, thinking that that might be a difference maker for Salford, and early on it seemed that way. For the Catalan Dragons, their problem was a total lack of continuity in attack. Like they were camped out after Salford scored early. They were then camped out for much of the rest of the first half
Yeah.
on the Salford line, almost relentlessly, and they only scored 2 tries. And in that period, now it was enough to give them the lead at half time, and it was a lead they never looked like being under threat of keeping from that point. But that was because Salford kept making mistakes that kept helping put Catalan into position. But Catalan was so disjointed. They looked like a bunch of individuals. They really did. The thing is, they've got enough quality in those
Yeah.
individuals.
It's a tricky one because I mean, so I was down at the end that they were attacking in the first half, and I distinctly remember not having to look very hard, as in the ball was in kind of Catalan were attacking all the game really,
Yeah.
and obviously where I was sat, you could see some of the moves, and yeah, they were disjointed. I mean, I have to say the thing that after the kind of Salford made this strong start, I have to say I thought Catalan were all right. I have such low expectations
Yeah.
the fact that they weren't shit um, is a positive. Is a positive.
Yeah. That's a fair point. They were disjointed, but
They were.
not terrible. Not total garbage. Yeah.
No, I think Gigo's. You can see the frustration in some other players with Gigo. Like what's he called? Who was it now? Remy Casti was supporting him after he'd made a break, and obviously Casti's busting his ass to kind of keep up with him, and he just didn't look for him. He just didn't look to kind of to support him, and
No,
yeah,
and
I
that's
can
one of the
understand
things I
that
mean about
frustration.
players playing it individually.
Yeah, I mean, Gigo's the worst example of that. He's mercurial and he's very talented, but he just needs to look at, look to where the support available to kind of use it. I'm not saying Casti they've gone under the post or anything, but it was, it's about, I don't know, kind of rewarding the effort for supporting the man with the ball and that kind of stuff. They did just enough. But it wasn't brilliant by any stretch of the imagination.
No, I mean it could have been a bigger scoreline if Gigo had his goal kicking boots on, but he did. It was. I'm pretty sure it was Gigo that put the kick in for um, the Broughton's
Garcia.
third try, his hat trick
Oh,
try.
Broughton's, yes. Well, they did.
That was a quality kick that just went. Alfert's kind of got caught out, sort of.
He got caught in. He got caught and compressed in, didn't he? And he
Yeah,
just kind of looped over
but it
him.
was a lovely, lovely kick.
It was a
And
lovely kick.
Broughton was the star of the show, deservedly the man of the match in this game. I think it was his second try, the one with that round the back
The,
offload, and
the
then
free play one,
he did
yes, yeah, it
the
was.
pace. That was a quality try. I think that had everyone in the ground clapping, and probably even the Salford fans.
Yeah, yeah. There was definitely a ripple around me that kind of neutrals and stuff that were like, yeah, that's quality. I can't forget who uploaded it actually.
Do you know?
Don't know.
I
It was
think
it
it
was
must have been
Drinkwater.
Drinkwater.
It was
Yeah.
Drinkwater. It was Drinkwater. Yeah, 33. Yes, it was. And he kind of he went, obviously free play. You kind of take a chance, don't you? That you wouldn't normally do. And he took it to the line and he kind of committed the guy and Broughton was away then. And he's good enough to take those kind of chances. So yeah, they were value for it. And I can't.
No, I agree.
You can't argue against him really.
No, so in terms of the stats, Jody Broughton, we're finished with him and we'll start with him on the stats. 3 tries, 141 metres, 3 clean breaks. Julian Bousquet, a try in 111 metres. Braden William,